Medianoche.
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 Podcast.
Medianoche.
Podcast.
Medianoche.
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 Podcast.
Yeah. All right, man, we're back, man. This is what, episode 42. I like this because, I'm at the hotel and I just post up in my van after the majority of what I gotta do there is done. Tonight, reoccurring guest, good friend of mine, Charlie Fast is here. What's up, dude? Cue applause. I'm doing all right, man. I'm I caught slightly off guard, slightly by surprise. You hit me up around 10 p.m. or something of that nature. Let's see what this homie does. Is he going to the office? Nope.
No, he's not. You see what I'm talking about, right? I park facing the front desk.
Yeah.
And people that pull up, walking past us. You hear that motorcycle? Imagine paying money to sleep in a hotel, and around this time that you're about to drift off, you hear two guys talking in a van.
They're gonna hear us, man. We're too incognito.
Right. I mean, the motorcycle in the background is what I was gonna get to, but I wanted to humorously be like,
yeah, growling freaking motorcycle, and it's like, what time is it? It's like 2 right now. 1.
it's about to be 1 o'clock in the morning.
It's gonna be it might as well be like 4 in the morning for me.
Let me tell you something, man. My dad has 3 motorcycles. They're Honda Shadows. Each of them are Honda Shadows, right? They're cruiser bikes. They're not like the speedy ones that you like lean forward on.
Are they like hogs?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
They're kind of like the Harley Davidsons, but they're Japanese, right?
All right.
So it just never made sense to me, as far as I know, because I'm yet to experience what it's like to drive a motorcycle. But I just don't understand how you can sit on something that makes so much noise, and it's right there next to your ears. Supposedly, the sound kind of like you're a little bit guarded from it because the sound is going outward and you're like right. I just don't think it makes any sense, man, to like rev the engine and have that thing just explode your eardrums,
Yeah, I don't know. I think when you're sitting on it, and I've never really been on a hog myself. I'm guessing that the sound is like going away, and also, I mean, of course, you're feeling it. Perhaps it becomes therapeutic. Perhaps you're riding it, and it's like you're riding a beast, where you rev the engine, and it's like the beast growling or whatever. I don't know, man. Maybe some sort of primal thing that we're trying to substitute and fulfill ourselves with or whatever.
And also, for example, in Wynwood, when somebody goes really slow down 2nd Avenue right in front of my job, right, and they're revving the engine, like that sound bounces off of the walls of both sides of the street, and it just completely seems to amplify the sound of this engine. And everyone, it's like that episode of South Park where those guys, the motorcycle gang, just do that as they cruise down the main street. You just hear wom, 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 wom. And then, like, while they're all doing that, everyone is with their hands on their ears, like, what the fuck's going on? And then really, really loud, one of the kids, I think it's Stan or Cartman, goes, hey, you guys. And they stop, boom, 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 boom. What is it? And then the kid goes, you guys are fucking fags. It's like, did he just call us fags? You know what I'm talking about? Man, it's just like,
It was definitely insensitive.
Yeah, it was. Especially during the years, because that was before political correct culture. But what's up, Charlie? You been all right?
Yeah, hold on.
I since I've been starting off this podcast thing, sitting at the van, Vanessa.
Vanessa.
It's been kind of a thing where I'm trying to make use of my downtime. You know what I mean?
Yes.
technically I'm at work, but you know, some jobs they pay you to do stuff. Other jobs they kind of pay you to be there more, like security guards or something. Most of the time, you're just there to let it be known that you're there.
Yeah.
And technically, that I would consider that downtime. You know. So this is what I'm trying to do during my downtime. In the meantime, like
Utilizing the time that you have in your life that you've already dedicated to somebody else, but there's downtime and you don't want to waste good downtime.
what do you do with your downtime?
My downtime is non-existent. Um, what do I do with my down? Like what? Like at work? Like, well, I mean, bro, what's downtime? Maybe okay, I don't have to work on the weekend, so I might take a nap on a Saturday and maybe a Sunday. after like looking after kids and making freaking mashed potatoes and hot dogs and attending to their every needs and trying to be a good family man and stuff and trying to put food on the table and working a hell of a lot.
I feel like you're just going down this like scroll of a list that you keep in your pocket.
Keep
like
mentally.
it's like you just release the pin and the scroll like unravels down, and you go. Let's see what I do after I'm done with this list.
Downtime. Let me see. I think that word might be down here. That somewhere down the bottom of the list somewhere. Let me see. Cue scroll sound.
Well, you know, man, like I feel like I get a lot of downtime while I drive. You know, even though you're preoccupied because you're driving and you're focused on the road, but you know what it's like. Like you yourself are on autopilot, and what's going on in your head is really what's really going on. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that kind of downtime or whatever, I don't consider it downtime because I've dedicated that time to somebody else and I'm commuting, which in my current mind state within these last years or whatever, I feel like is a waste of life, waste of time, waste of life, because you're on the road and bro, I've already gotten hit twice on the road, somebody hitting me, rear-ending me. The second one was not so bad, but the young man hoodwinked me, and he's like, yeah, he was on fucking 95. Oh, look at this homie.
Okay, give me one quick second, man.
Sure. Listeners, this is where the listeners hang on to my every word. Not my every word.
Yes, can I help you?
About to tell the story. I've already forgot what I was going to tell Art. This guy's making all types of hand motions and stuff. We are still rolling. I'm here in Art's van. Art went into the office. Some guy with short hair. Some might call him bald. Or he could just have really short hair that he like shaves really close. I don't know how exciting this internal dialogue is. Bro, Art's I come to Art's to his work at this hotel. It's right next to fucking, excuse my language, it's right next to Biscayne Boulevard, which is like, you might not be able to get more Miami than Biscayne Boulevard. It's like one of the main roads, and like main roads, kind of like going into downtown or whatnot. I don't know. I could be BSing you, but I mean, bro, you want to feel Miami and kind of like, I mean, the streets here are actually not that dirty. Like the streets in Miami are relatively well kept. I mean, I'm looking at the road and I don't really see any dirt. I don't really see any freaking paper cups or whatever. but I don't know what it is, man. Maybe it's just like hanging. It's kind of like feels like dark Miami. Not I don't know. I don't know if you want to think like necessarily like a dark cloud, but like I'm like constantly like I have the I'm in Art's van. I have the window open, and you hear like creaking and stuff or whatever, and there's like all types of people here, and obviously because it's a hotel, I'm like looking over my shoulder, whatever, wondering if I should have this window closed in this parking lot, but he doesn't have AC or the car is definitely not on. I don't know. He's gonna be coming back. Oh shit! It looks like yeah, I don't know. It looked like the timer was blinking or something, but I think we good. We back. We got Art in the building.
mad low is funny.
Disregard anything that I just said to you people. He's never gonna know.
It's true.
He's never gonna know.
All right, so you were saying that
I don't know what I'm saying.
that somebody had you got into 2 accidents.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, okay, maybe some people want to think driving and it's so relaxing and that's when I can clear my mind and listen to a song or listen to an album or a podcast or whatever, and that's all wonderful. I would rather not spend that time like, bro, okay, I want to listen to a podcast. I'd rather do that from my house on my little swing in the back or whatever, and not risk my life driving in freaking Miami. I mean, the second time I got hit on 95, the expressway or whatever, and then the guy like, I mean, the car wasn't really that, it wasn't really damaged, but like the back bumper was like kind of creased in and stuff, and it kind of shook me, and I've been going to like physical therapy because of this previous accident, and I was shook or whatever, and I didn't get out and like take a picture of his license or whatever, like a genius should have. And then the guy's like, yeah, let's just pull off to the side, and so we don't clog up traffic. I'm like, all right, that sounds like a good idea. We pull off to the right, to the right shoulder or whatever, and bro, in a split second, I fucking look around and I'm alone. The guy fucking took off, and I was like, oh shit, that
Damn,
horrible
dude.
Young man.
That is super whack, man.
Super whack, bro. And bro, I wasn't happy about it, but I'm like, bro, I don't know. Part of me is like, perhaps he didn't have insurance. Perhaps I don't know, man. It's very whack for me. Thankfully, I came out all right on that, and I have to accept the crease on my back bumper or whatever on this new car that the good Lord has blessed me with from freaking working like an animal. Nonetheless, yeah, I was not happy about this homie freaking hitting and then run or whatever. And after that, I got like the car camera or whatever, and that shit is facing forward. I mean, maybe God forbid if I get hit in the back again, I'm gonna have to turn the camera around. I'm thinking about getting another camera that only faces back. I don't know. I'm rambling about this, but you were asking about free time.
No, hold on. Let's stay on this topic because,
okay,
bro, this is a gripe that I have with South Florida, man. Driving fucking sucks, man. Like
yes.
Driving in South Florida, I was talking with my mans about this the other day. Like, you know, when you think about the places that you occupy your time with, right? You have 24 hours in a day, and you spend some of those hours at home, some of those hours at work, and the rest of the time you're either in a car driving or running errands, which also involves you in a car driving, you know? So we spend a really good chunk of our time in commute. And Miami just happens to be like, in my opinion, the absolute worst city that I've ever had the misfortune of having to drive in, you know?
Okay.
Like like the drive, I wonder what it is. Why do you think the driving in Miami is so bad? You know what I think it is, man? I think it's a combination of things, you know? For one, when you think about it, the quality of the roads here, like the actual roads, the pavement, you know, like the actual quality of the roads is not smooth at all. Like ever since I got this van, have you ever heard the saying that an empty wagon makes the most noise? It's a saying. It's an idiom implying the people that don't have much going on up here seem to have the most to say. You ever heard of that? The empty wagon makes the most noise.
I have not, but I mean not that I can recall from my memory.
Well,
But yes, it does sound like something some American thing to say.
well, you know, not for nothing, man, but like my van is actually empty right now, so it seems to make even more noise when I drive over potholes and shit. And I-95 is insanely rough to trek through, right?
Yeah.
And then I feel like the weather too, like the heat and the humidity and the exhaust from everybody's cars around you, and most cars don't even have air conditioning. So all this just kind of agitates everyone, you know? And since there's so many people, everyone's in a rush because the ride to their jobs is not a pleasant one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So people make irrational risks. And then you have the texting. You feel me? It's just so many distractions, bro.
Distractions, frustrations, people that are frustrated because they're going to be late, and then there's all these cars on the road because they're going to be late too. And bro, I don't know, man. And I don't know about I've heard that that Miami has like the rudest of drivers in America or whatnot, like voted number one rudest drivers. I don't know if that competes with New York. I don't know. I could be just making this up, but let's talk about it like it's fact. I don't know, man. I don't know. And there's also a lot of cultures, like different people groups.
Yeah, that's true. That's a theory that was brought up too. When I used to drive for Lyft, I would pick up some people that live down here, and they, you know, would tell me, "Man, I just gave up on driving because," and then they start to vent as to why they believe the drivers, the quality of the actual drivers, are so bad. And one of the things they brought up is that, you know, people come here from South America and people come here from Haiti and this and that, and they drive over here the way they do over there.
Brazil, Mexico,
You know, and like they talk about like
Dominican Republic.
how they drive over here, how they do over there, which over there is from what I mean. I don't know. I've never been to those countries, but supposedly there aren't really any real driving laws over there.
I'm sure it's very lax.
You know, and a lot of off-roading too.
Yeah, bro.
You know, so I don't know. It's just unfortunate, man. There's so many. I told you the story about when my van got dented into, right?
I do recall you telling me that story.
So like, let me just say this for the viewers real quick.
For our listeners.
Yeah. So for the listeners, right, not viewers. So like, so this hotel, right? This hotel is on Biscayne Boulevard, and the front desk is right on the sidewalk. You know, like on the other side of the glass window is the sidewalk. And there's a bar back here at the hotel too. So aside from all the available parking spots that were originally just for the hotel guests, ever since they opened up the bar in the back, people that want to visit the bar park in the spots too. So now there's barely any parking in the weekends, right? Which makes my job kind of a pain in the ass because you know, like these people are paying money to have a pleasant stay, and they pull up and there's nowhere for them to park, you know?
Yeah.
So my van, what I was doing up until maybe a few months ago was I would park my van right next to the front desk, which is it's technically on the sidewalk, right? There's the handrail for the handicap ramp that's adjacent to the sidewalk, and then there's a tree. There's a tree on the sidewalk, and in between those two is enough space for a vehicle to fit. So I would fit my van there, and I did that to open up one more spot at the hotel, but also so I can keep an eye on my van because I would have all my things in it, and I don't want nobody to
Sure.
mess with it, you know? So one night, I'm just kicking it, and all of a sudden I hear the screeching, and then my van just goes "Brah," and starts like shaking around because a car had hit it, right?
Yeah.
So this is my van is parked and a car still hits it, you know,
Yeah.
hits it from the back, and I go out, and a lady was making a left-hand turn to turn into the hotel, and then a car going the opposite way swerved out of the way and ran up on the sidewalk and hit my van, right? And I man, that built up so much resentment because, damn dog, I just got this van, you know, I have it parked, I'm not moving it, and it still gets into an accident, you know. It's like, damn, bro,
Yeah.
what are the odds? But the bright side about that is that if my van was not parked there, that car would have hit the hotel, and I'm like 2 feet away from where it would have impacted. So my van kind of like got in the way of its trajectory, which was heading towards me, you know? And the glass of the hotel would have absolutely shattered everywhere. I probably would have had a bunch of cuts because of the glass and whatever. Thank God it was my van.
Yeah.
But that's not to justify, oh, well, I guess Miami it's not so bad. No, bro. Miami's driving is very bad.
Yeah, man. I agree, man. And then, like, what's up with these people? Are they going inside?
Yeah, they are. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Sure.
We'll pick up right after.
Keep going. I'll have the dialogue for our listeners. All right, we have 2 women at this at the door. Art is getting out of the van. Do they want hotel rooms? Are they trying to check in? We shall see, ladies and gentlemen. We shall hear. What time is it, man? Bro, Art calls me at 10. He's like, "Yo, B, thank you for coming out here." I was like, "Yeah, man. I mean, excuse me. That's my dad's sounds." Basically, I'm out here at 1:15, rambling by myself over a recorder. And I told him, I was like, "Bro, I'm thankful to be able to do this with you because I don't know if I'm always gonna be able. I actually kind of know that I'm not always gonna be able to come out and build with him, because once he's straight and he has everything squared away, he's gonna be out there touring. He's gonna be out there living his dream and stuff, and any chance at creating some kind of history or documenting history or documenting our conversations, that will come few and far in between. So if the homie calls me and it's like 10-11 p.m. and I'm like ready to rest, or I'm using the last couple hours to do something creative or something that I'm trying to build, and I'm building by myself, and making sure that the kids have what they need or whatever, and I'm like, all right, it's a Friday night, I'm gonna be able to rest, and tomorrow's a new day. There's plenty of stuff we gotta do, and the homie calls me late. I always try to make it a point to come out here and talk with him and create document some history for the future. Ideally, only positive things come out of this in the future. It's also important for me to document how I sounded and how I talked and how I interacted with people for future generations after I'm gone. Ideally, my son and my daughter will have some recordings they can look up on YouTube, on the Library of Alexandria, and say, hey, this was my dad, and be able to have these these memories, these obscure memories that they didn't experience. But hey, that's how my dad interacted with people and talked with people, and he made, he was good friends with people. That's important to me. Maintaining your mark in history, and ideally doing it well, and stuttering as little as possible. It would be more wonderful if I were fully energized. Perhaps I can do some Wim Hof method exercises, and the excess of oxygen will fire me up, and I'll be sharp as a tack. I don't know if I have the will to do a Wim Hof session right now. Shout outs to Wim Hof, the Iceman OG. If y'all don't know about Wim Hof, you should check him out. Does these breathing exercises, which allegedly turns your body alkaline and oxygenates your muscles and stuff. And it's like a blast of oxygen. His theory is that the body is like a battery. And most of the time we just inhale and exhale, and we're just using up, giving ourselves just enough oxygen for our body to function and function at ease. But being a battery, a theoretical battery, you can hyperventilate and hyperoxygenate your body and fill it with oxygen completely, and be able to do like I don't know. I'm not gonna say you're gonna be able to do superhuman feats, but I guess if you're dedicated enough, the homie Wim Hof like climbs Mount Everest in like shorts with no shoes, and like jogs in the Sahara Desert with no water, and like swims and like does dives in freaking bikini shorts into ice ice lakes. Anyways, we back.
You know, I'm gonna listen to everything you said
You will not.
in my Pro Tools section. All right, man. Thank you, man. I'm sorry for this.
No sorries, man.
This topsy turvy.
It's part
format.
of the experience.
So anyway,
and I'm thankful for the experience.
I'm thankful that you came through too as well, Charlie.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear.
All right, so yeah, bro, driving, bro. I feel like.
Okay, we're gonna keep talking about driving.
No. I'm moving on from it.
Okay.
This is actually a marker for me for when I go to open up Pro Tools.
Driving.
Moving on.
Charles Fast monologue sessions.
Memoirs.
Anyways.
So yeah, man. So Charlie, bro, you know, I'm trying to make the most out of my time, and that's why I asked, what do you do with your downtime? Because I know that you have a bunch of plans and ideas as well, you know?
My downtime, as much as I'd like to think that, I spend my time trying to educate myself in order to make some sort of service using programmatic means, and learning different aspects of programming languages so I can build my own thing or whatever. Bro, I spend if I have downtime, a lot of times I take a nap, and that's my downtime, and because I'm so tired all the time. But I will say that I do try to work out a bit during lunch. At my job, they have a gym there, so I go in there and I try to utilize it a bit, a few times a week. When I drive, a lot of times I'll listen to a podcast. A lot of times, shout out to Super Duty Tough Work.
Yeah.
I check them out a lot. I check out Joe Rogan's podcast. I check out Joey Diaz's podcast, The Freaking Church of What's Happening Now, although it is kind of a guilty pleasure because that guy is a savage. Freaking Joey Diaz is a savage, dog. But, I don't know. I don't know if I would like to hang out with him or know him personally, or know him when he was doing coke in the 80s and only looking for that animalistic next jolt and getting it at any way, at any means necessary, robbing people or whatever, which he talks about it in his podcast or whatever. So yeah, but he fascinates me as a human being.
You know, I have some homies that remind me of Joey Diaz because from the stories that I've heard that he told, and on the Joe Rogan podcast and stuff, and if you do a little like homework on like his backstories, like how you're talking about right now, there are some people that you have no problem hanging out with, but you wouldn't introduce to your family, and also the people that you probably wouldn't introduce to your family. It's not that they're bad people; they're not bad people. They're just you don't want your family to start to build this perception of you like you're hanging around the wrong crowd. Isn't that funny how that works? Like,
yeah, man.
I'm sorry. No.
I was just gonna say that there's like a saying that like, tell me who, like in Spanish, I don't know how it goes, but it's like, tell me who you hang with and I'll tell you who you are, or birds of a feather flock together. And so like the company that you keep, that's like who you are. I don't know. There's that saying or whatever, which I kind of agree with to some degree.
Right.
But yeah, what were you saying?
Nah, to some degree, because even to this day, I got some homies that they they live like a life that I wouldn't want to be living, but I also try not to like obviously pass judgment or whatever. And I find myself being the type of person that gets looked at a little funny from my friends' families, because on paper, if you go down the things that I've had to deal with or go through, or that I put myself through, it doesn't look too flattering,
Got you.
And but when you sit down and have a conversation with them or with me, you might not assume that I may have done a little time or this and that. So, but I mean, at the same time, bro, like those people tend to be the funnest to hang around,
Yeah, I feel you, man. Like, I feel you. I mean, they're definitely not prudes, and are like Joey Diaz is hilarious, man. Like just these stories that he tells and the way he tells them, and you see his mind freaking working, and then he has these crazy eyes, and you hear him and the gravel in his voice, and you're like, bro, this guy is a freaking savage through and through.
Let me ask you, man, like, do you feel like you are in control of your life?
It's a deep question to be asking at 125. I like to think that I am in control of a good amount of my life, and I'm at where I'm okay with being. And if I were not, like work wise or whatever, if I was not good, I like to think that I would take control of the situation and go elsewhere. Although I do sometimes get married to a situation like freaking, it would be hard for me to leave a job or whatever. Although there's a better opportunity or something, like because I'm already in there. But that's neither there nor here. I mean, I have been. Am I in control of my life? I like to think that I am to a degree, although there are many things in my life that are occupying my life, like the space, that are worthy of, that are more worthy of attention and focus than what I used to be able to do. I used to be able to paint and write and do a lot of creative stuff or whatever. And then you have kids, and then you are now living for these children, for this child, for these kids, and so all the energy and finances, whatever that you would be investing in yourself or whatever equipment, whatever, all that goes into dedicating and dedicating resources and equipping your children in order so that they have the best chance to survive in this harsh world. So you can see them off as productive citizens, man. As productive citizens and the people that are going to flourish and ideally be able to fend for themselves because their parents are not always going to be there. Sure, they might we might be here and tending to their every need and making and helping them adjust to this world as best as possible. But you as parents, you're not always going to be there. God forbid, one day you're going to die, or whatever. Okay, you're off at work and it's far away, and then something happens with your kid where because they walk to their friend's house or whatever, they got to fend for themselves because you're not going to be able to make it there, even if you rush home and then you're there like in an hour and a half or whatever. Your child is going to have to fend for themselves or whatever. So it's a matter of equipping them and focusing on them, and because that's your genetics that you're passing down and introducing into the world. And you want your genetics to flourish.
I would imagine that being a parent is, even though obviously that's controlling your life, but having a kid and raising that kid seems to be just an extension of your own life. It literally is, you know?
Sure.
Like, it does sound like you're in control of your life, man. Like, that is your life, you know? Even though you don't have enough time left over to work on some creative things, like how you said painting and writing and things like that, but I feel like being a dad, like, you know, being a parent is totally the next chapter. Makes sense for that to be the next chapter of one's life, you know? Like,
sure.
I don't have any kids yet. I was just hanging out with a friend of mine and helping him get a birthday gift for somebody, and he had his daughter with him, and you know, I had to kind of like watch over his daughter for a couple minutes. I volunteered to watch over his daughter for a couple minutes, so that he can focus on like going through Macy's and looking for some sweater or something for the person he was buying a gift for. And bro, a little girl requires 150% of your attention, bro. And that I was with her for 5 minutes, pointing out different color pants, and she would tell me what colors they are. And, bro, hell yeah, that is. You know, I have a dog, and people that don't have kids that have a pet and they try to compare it, it is not the same, bro.
It's good practice, though. it's good. Like, okay, this is you're greasing the wheels, you're priming the pump. You're getting some sort of experience where you're responsible for a life, an organic life. And you want that organic life to do well because it's a reflection of you. I mean, if your dog was all raggedy and malnourished or whatever, that's a reflection on you.
Well, I feel like animals are much more low maintenance, bro.
Sure.
They
of course.
They walk up to the bowl and eat and drink. They jump fences. They scratch themselves.
Bro, you could give up an animal, and sure, maybe some people might not look too kindly upon it, but you know, whatever. It's not like a child where you cannot like, perhaps some people have given up their children or whatever, but that would be like a very very difficult thing for me to have to come to.
This is why I ask if
impossible.
The last two questions, you know, it's like the downtime and if you're and being in control of one's life, because like in my example, you know, during my downtime I try to put in work on what I'm passionate about, which is obviously, you know, my music, and then the visuals that accompany the music, and then also this podcast, right? Really, it's media. You feel me? And but I don't feel like I'm in full control of my life right now because of my obligations with like my jobs, you know, both jobs. I'm not one of these types of people that wishes that they couldn't work. You know how you have some people that they'll be like, oh, I wish I didn't have to work. I don't like that. Like, I'm not like that at all. Like, I wish that I could work 24/7, but on something that I'm passionate about. You know?
I always kind of say that, man, I wish I didn't have to work, because if I didn't have to work, I would put myself to work.
Exactly.
On my own thing, of course.
Exactly. You know, the super duty tough work, you know? But like, you know, so I try to occupy my downtime, or more like I make as much time as I could into downtime, that way that I can repurpose it to work on my own things, like driving, for example, you know? Driving, or like in between duties that I do here on the overnight shift, or whatever, you know. And that's why I was asking, like, you know, it's funny how we try to be in control of our lives, but in a way, it's kind of like swimming in the middle of the ocean. You know, you tell yourself you're swimming in a certain direction, but you are being pushed and pulled around how the currents want you to be. You know.
Let me ask you, and I'm glad that you brought up the ocean. Okay, so in this climate, I respect you as a lyricist, as a rapper, as an artist, as a producer, videographer, creative mind. I think that you have incredible music, and you're like a wellspring of like dope music that just keeps coming. I admire that. Let me ask you, do you ever feel like you are like you're a drop in the ocean in like the artist in the craft that you've chosen, that or have chosen you, or whatever craft that you're a part of, rap, hip hop, whatever, MCing, recording artist, writer, lyricist, whatever you want to call it? Do you feel like you're a drop in the ocean because there's so many people that, I don't know, man, they want to be rappers, they want to be famous, they're inspired to be artists from other people. They look at them and like, oh, I can do it too, and then so it's just more and more to the ocean. I don't know. What do you like? How do you feel? Like, I mean, after me saying that, like I don't know.
You know, yes and no. I do feel like I'm a drop in the ocean as far as in context to the fact that I rap and it seems like everyone shoots their shot at trying to be a rapper, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, yes. I don't want to come off like self-absorbed when I say this, but you know, you got your murky water,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got your filtered water, you know?
Okay.
And then you got your holy water.
Hmm.
You know? So, I don't know. I want to feel like if I am a drop in the ocean, I am contributing to the purification of that ocean with the type of music that I believe that I'm putting out. You know? Like my homie just hit me the day before yesterday, and this was like out of nowhere too. He just hit me on Facebook Messenger, my man Joel, and he was like, bro, you know, I listened to that song that you put out. My most recent one is called On My Way. He's like, I listened to that song that you put out, and you know, man, damn, bro, like I've known you since fourth grade, and no one is talking about the things that you talk about.
Hmm.
And you know what's funny, like, you know, like to what extent does one let that get to their head, you know? Like, I can walk around and be super cocky and arrogant and all conceited and shit and be like, yeah, you know, I'm this and that. But at the end of the day, I take a look at my life, and my current stance in my life is a lot more humbling than my stance in the music, you know? So there are guys that start rapping 6 months ago, and for whatever reason they flourish in that field. I feel like the hip-hop game champions people that are a lot more surface level, or a lot more into glorifying things that I don't feel like is good for you, you know?
I think, and you saying that, I think that there are these entities, I don't know, companies, people, groups of people that have dollar signs in their eyes, and they just need a face that they could push because they have money, and if they put enough money and groom this young energetic artist, give them a bit of money, that they feel like they made it. But I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know, it's like a poison that I don't know, like they use these kids And do they groom them to poison, or are they themselves poison? Am I just rambling right now?
I would say that in those companies, they see this young kid making this music about these controversial things, a lot of criminality, and
It's controversial. It's catchy. It's people are looking at it.
it's appealing. Like, have you ever seen that meme? It's like a guy folding clothes from a hamper, and it's like a white dude in a polo folding clothes from a hamper in his house, and the meme says, "This is me while I listen to music about selling drugs and killing people." And it's like people want to vicariously live this like this double life through the music that they listen to. And then you have artists that have no intentions on writing songs about selling drugs or shooting or killing or pimping or whatever. They'd rather write songs about the most like unorthodox topics, or a very vulnerable thing, or something that just everyday life, blue collar stuff. And the average person might not want to have that on the soundtrack of their life, because it's like it's too literal, or it's too like abstract. They want something that's contrasting, and it appeals to them, But
Appeals to them. It's appealing. It sounds catchy. It sounds good. You can live vicariously, like watching a mob movie or something, and you're there, but you're in the safety of your home. I guess what I was getting at was kind of like, okay, well, maybe this is another take on it. Like we have our gauge, and our social media gauge on what's popping and why is something popping, and then it's like, okay, how can I be like controversial or whatever, and just going over the top, and then all right, I don't know, man. You go overboard. You do some crazy stuff. People that see dollar signs or whatever, put some energy behind that. That person gets even bigger.
I want to say that what separates me from the rest of the drops in that ocean is that when I was younger in my career, a lot of my music revolved around the activity of like smoking weed, skateboarding, city slicker with big goals,
Okay.
And then I feel like I've kind of evolved into more of a, if I had to use like a drug to compare the feeling of like weed to, the stuff that I talk about seems more like along the lines of like a psilocybin, like much more heady music. Like, I'll say something like, when the sky is the color orange in North California with a sandwich from calicos and a gallon of cold water, then at night the clouds go away and the galaxy shows God's magnitude. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's these little short stories that occupy just 2 lines.
Sure.
Like, some mornings on the mountain I would jog in the fog. I look for money on the ground while I'm walking my dog. Like, very short little story, just to kind of add a little bit of context to my human experience. You feel me? Like, I don't know who else walks their dog out there and like finds themselves looking at the ground hoping to come across a dollar bill or something, but if you do, like I do as well, and I put that in a song recently. You feel me?
And there's that human connection. I agree, man. So, talking about oceans, and this will segue into what I've been kind of doing and being involved with and stuff that's going on in the community here. Bro, I feel okay. I love the craft of rap. I love writing and writing something dope, and then writing something and you're like, and it's hilarious to you because like, man, this is so dope. It's like comedy. It's brilliant. and it's so brilliant that you can only just laugh. Where maybe the average human being listen to it and they might be blown away, but you as the writer laugh because man, it's so beautiful. It's a beautiful creation or whatever that has been generated from your mind or inspired by some sort of spirit or whatnot. I love that. I love the craft. I love building with people. When I have the time, listen to a beat and we're both writing to this. And then we bounce off energies off of each other, and we come up with something brilliant. Or just like creating a beat and be like, damn, no, this could be a fucking banger. And whether I write to it, whether somebody else writes to it, man, that process is just awesome or whatever. And then like, I think we've been sold, or me, been sold on some sort of idea. I don't even know what the idea is, or like, oh, you're a rapper, okay, you're supposed to like put out videos and get famous and pop bottles of champagne. I don't know, whatever. I guess what I'm saying is I love the craft of it, and I will always be an MC, and I'll always, when I have that opportunity to host or co-host or whatever, likely co-host, and be a part of the community and being that supports. I like to think that I always will. But I feel like as an artist, I feel like a drop in the ocean. And maybe because I haven't really been able to dedicate my energy fully to like really churn out freaking tracks or whatever. But I'm like, man, I would love to do that, and just for the sake of having these masterful works. But I'm like, it's like there's a part of me that says, yo, it's just gonna get lost in the ocean, washed away, and drops. You drop some water in the ocean, and anyways, what I'm getting at is, I mean, I'm part of the Vice City Cypher crew, and my homie H2O has more recently gotten inspired to start doing live streams, but of like just dope new hip hop music that he loves, finding these gems, these new gems of people that, recent music that's been dropped, that me, a person like me, I don't have time to be looking for what's that new stuff. Me, I kind of have to stick to what I know, and the old stuff, like I'm kind of stuck in that because I don't have time to be digging, and I don't find joy in that. I don't have the time for it. I don't, and therefore I don't find joy. Maybe if I had the time to do it and I didn't commute and stuff, and I could focus on it. But H, shout outs to H. He has this gift of like finding this stuff, and he was like, yo, I want to be able to like share this with people, so they could feel what I'm feeling. And so on the low, in humble beginnings, he was like, started off streaming off of one cell phone, listening to another cell phone, like filming for one cell phone with another cell phone, and that was the stream or whatever. And then like Facebook would like knock him off every half hour or something. But every show, it's been getting better and better, and more listeners, and we're in the double digits, and freaking 25, 30, 40 people are like listening to his streams because it's new music and he's dope, and his freaking authentic, energetic personality. He has been able to connect with people and has a way of moving people, and I say all this in that I mean we're starting up WVCC radio, and so why I'm excited about it is, for one thing, we still have a lot of connections with people, and H is a brilliant networker. And why I'm excited about it is that, okay, we're not adding more water to the ocean. We're channeling that water. We're capturing the flow of that water, and we're bringing water to the masses. And then like it's like all this, it's capitalizing on the abundance of all this good music, where on one side you can be frustrated because, bro, there's so many people, and if I release something on I don't know, it's not going to go anywhere or whatever. Somebody might have those worries, but in this position, we would be able to connect with direct the water of the flow of water in this ocean, and give the people just a fresh perspective, and yo, check out these new tracks from these people that you may have never heard of, or these guys out of Canada, or these guys out of England, or bro, did you check out the new Joel Ortiz? Here it is. Here's one track. Bro, some Apollo Brown, you ain't ready for this. Sky Zoo, yo, you guys freaking don't even know how dope Sky Zoo is. And just freaking releasing, just putting out these bangers and bangers. So, I feel like that there's an opportunity there to, for one thing, we want to get our, we're getting our licensing so that we can like actually play and not get cut off from Facebook or any live stream or whatever. There's some rules you got to follow, but because freaking right now he's going off of his Rudy Barrow Facebook account, and if you're friends with Rudy Barrow, you may see him saying, "Oh, we're live streaming or whatever," and then with a flyer to the latest the next event that he's helping to promote in order to help cross promote and stuff. The latest shout outs to Breeze Everflowing, putting he's doing an event on like it's like one Monday a month, every month I believe. It's called Cypher in the Circle up in Hollywood, and so he's been doing this. I've started getting excited about it. People have been starting to get excited about it. We're bringing back Saturday Night Live, which he's delegating the Props and Bonds kids to handle that, and there's different stuff, bro. There's like we're having meetings about different content that we can have, and ways that we can capitalize off of it, and doing the sponsors and stuff, and doing ads for sponsors or whatever. But really, it's like you have access to all this good stuff, and we're laying it out on a table for you.
Yeah, you know, H2O has always had a knack of bringing people together. And as far as I remember him, he's always been that way. I feel like I've known H2O for the last like 15 years. And even back then at the Polish American Club, he would walk inside the venue and just make an announcement. Everybody, outside, we're doing a cypher. MCs, come sharpen your skills around us. If you're dope, we'll let you know. And if you're whack, you best believe I'll let you know. So we'll meet you outside. All right?
Bro, the call to battle, the call to freaking... Bro, what real MC is not going to go after that? Freaking H2O, man. God bless you, H. I love you, homie.
Shout outs to H2O, man.
I've known him since I was like 15 years old. And, bro, like, first time I ever met him, he was doing... Like, I was at a Christian youth group kind of thing or whatever. And he was like a praise and worship leader kind of thing or whatever, where he's singing and stuff on stage. And he drops this freaking, bro, this is back in the days where Christian rap or whatever was like taboo, because that was like the music of the world. And then so he comes out with freaking, he uses the crisscross. Crisscross was hot back then or whatever. So he was like, his chorus was like, praise the Lord, yo, I'm about to praise the Lord, yo, that's what I was born to do. and my mind was blown. I was like, no, this can't be happening or whatever. And then like we were on this bus, and he was on there, bro, and he was like of course the life of the party. And I was like, bro, this guy has something about him, man. He has like this energy, and it fascinated me. And then ever since then, like, we all just kind of kept in touch. And then sometimes it would be years, like we'd like separate for years or whatever, because it's not like we had cell phones back then. And then he was always out doing his thing or whatever, and like we every couple years we would meet back up, and then particularly this one year, there were these battles that I started hearing about in my school, and this place called G's. I'm like, G's, what is that? And then so I was like, yo, I'm gonna check that. It was on Tuesday, like at 10. Whatever. All right, fine. I want to check it out because I love hip hop, and I was into graffiti back then or whatever, and I was kind of emceeing kind of a bit, but this whole battle thing kind of fascinated me. Not that I necessarily wanted to join, but just the fact that it was even happening anywhere in close by to my house or whatever. So I show up, and pretty much I'm always by myself, or like back then or whatever. I would show up to a place, I would be there show up by myself or whatever, and just hang out. And then I see him. I was like, holy shit or whatever. He's like, yo, bro, come here with me. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna, how much is it to get into this place? I don't know. It's the first time here. Place is kind of doing well, good foot traffic. I don't know if it was necessarily it was kind of packed because the battles had been going on for a bit. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I'm freaking down with this guy because I've known him for years, since back in youth group days. So we go to the front, and he says something like, yeah, we're the Illiterates crew, we're here for Recognize. And these guys, they're like, oh, go right in, and they freaking open up the gates, and we all as a group just waltz right in for free. I was like, holy shit, who the hell is Recognized, bro? And then I think it might have been it was definitely H2O. Might have been Rudy Goblin with us, I don't know. This guy, a man of arms, and a couple other kids from the Illiterates crew. So I was like, all right, cool. I get into this place free, whatever. I'm hanging out with this guy. He knows people, whatever. I'm cool by proxy. All right, cool. So they start battling or whatever. I'd never heard of Recognize or whatever, or any of these guys or whatever. And are you about to interject with something?
No, I'm listening to what you're saying, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like from the corner of my eye you're trying to jump in.
Oh no,
But-
I'm right here.
So they start battling or whatever. Like, damn, this is kind of dope, man. And then bringing back then the deal, there was just like different people, bro. I remember freaking Surgeon General was out there. This guy named Major Deacon. This other kid named Descendant. Freaking this guy named Minus.
That's when I first met you, when I was out there.
Yes.
I met you at Club G's for the first time.
We may have had like some words or whatever.
Wow, man, like I'm gonna be real with you, bro. Like my memory is very bad, bro. My memory is so bad, bro. Like I know that I've known you for a long time, but I can't pinpoint where I met you at, and that's actually one of the main reasons why I'm so happy that that I'm even able to have these conversations, these documented conversations, is because other people tell me their memories, and then I can kind of cross-reference and be like, oh yeah.
But you know what? I don't know if we maybe we didn't even necessarily talk, but you were definitely battling these. I was like, yo, this nerdy chubby kid is freaking battling these guys, and he's holding his own, and these guys are freaking dope battlers.
I was in 10th grade, bro. I would tell my mom that I'm going out there, and then I would catch a ride there and back. If not, I would catch a bus. And then I would have to hang out all night to catch a bus back because they stopped running after a certain time. And dog, I would go back to my crib and just kind of stay awake until it was morning. And I'll just get dressed to go to school. And I'll go to the bus stop. That's the way I was every single week.
Holy shit.
That was my Thursdays or Wednesdays, whatever day of the week it was.
Word, bro. So just to like kind of fast track or to elaborate slightly more or whatever, I don't know if we necessarily talked, but I did know, like, I knew you and you battled and you were dope. And I remember this one time you battled LMS and you told him, bro, you look like Roseanne Barr smothered in peanut butter. And Roseanne Barr smothered in peanut butter, and everybody freaking erupts in laughter. Even LMS, when he was like overweight back then, now he's kind of ripped. But bro, that line just stuck with me. Do you remember saying that?
I do remember saying that.
I thought it
remember,
was
man.
hilarious.
Yeah, you know, I have a few memories of my back and forth with LMS, you know, but I don't really like talking about him really too much because I don't really rock with him like that, you know. But I mean, I wish him well now. It's just he's done wrong by me for one too many times, and I just prefer to not, like,
Word.
you know. But God bless him anyway, bro. But I mean, like, you know, so back in those days, bro, like, H2O always had a knack of bringing people together, and I always remembered you rocking with him too. But I'm trying to pinpoint when it was that actually you and I formally got, like, you know, got cool, and I really just can't remember, man. Like, do you feel like you have a good memory? Is your memory pretty on point? Mine's not.
my memories from my past.
Yeah, mine is not, man. I find myself like having to ask people that I know that were there what happened more than me telling them what happened. And then once they start kind of telling me the story, I'll be like, oh yeah, and then this happened as well. You know, like, I think that the reason why that is, why my memory is like, mind you, bro, I've spent more than a few times Googling why that is, bro. Like, you know, some people,
Googling what?
like, how to improve your memory, you know, like, and they
You mean like your long-term memory, like when you were a kid, or short-term memory, like what you were just doing?
No.
What?
Short-term memory, I'm super on point.
Okay.
Long-term memory, I have a hard time keeping it together, and I excuse me. Is this going on with the same XLR? Hold on one second.
Check. Yes, I'm here.
Yo.
I don't hear you.
Damn, this has been going on. Yo, damn. I don't know, man. I hope it's not the recorder, but lately, the last episode too, that this XLR cable has been giving me a little, and I changed it out too. But anyway, like, you know, I have a couple theories as to why the memory, my long-term memory, has been acting a little funny, and the reason why I think it is because, you know how when you make a mistake on a piece of paper and you take the white out, and you, like, you know, you put white out on the error, and then you keep writing after that. Like, imagine a mistake in your memory you want to forget about. You want to push it away. So you want to put white out on that memory. But then you accidentally, like, spill the bottle over, and the white out goes everywhere, and a lot of other words get covered as well, you know? I feel like as time has gone by, like, certain decisions that I've made weren't the best ones, and in the process of trying to, like, push those bad memories away, it may have like also pushed some regular memories away too, by association, like by proxy, you know, like, and you know, I find myself trying to recall certain things, and damn, bro, like, I just have a hard time. But then also you try to piece things together, but your imagination starts to develop things that didn't happen, but that are likely to happen. You know, like, I could imagine you saying something that you never said, because I know your voice, I know your inflections, and I can kind of make a fictional version of you saying things that you've never said, because I know you, you know?
Okay.
It's like that AI that made Joe Rogan say something that he never said just by the algorithm, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my memory has been struggling to continue to have access to the archive than it once did. And another reason why I feel like my memory is kind of struggling a little bit is because I spend so much of my time committing rhymes to memory that I forget to just commit moments to memory. You know, a moment would happen, and I'll try to make a rhyme out of it, and then the rhyme is the only piece of that moment that exists, instead of a vivid mental documentation of what was happening at that moment. You get me? So, you know, you bring up these memories, and I'm like, word? That happened? Damn. Okay, shit. You know?
And then, like, I mean, I remember a bunch of stuff from like those G's battles and stuff or whatever, and freaking hearing recognized for the first time, like holy, like as a battler, holy shit, man! Like I was just very incredibly impressed or whatever, and it was a dope freaking time period, man, and freaking a lot of people grew from that. That was like a very like the beginnings or whatever. For, you know, for a lot of people, beginnings for a lot of people. I'm sure that they've been battles in Miami way before that or whatever. And then just to like years pass, and then like I was at Catalyst. I was at Catalyst Heavy, helping out, doing my thing, and just inspired by what Catalyst was doing. And then you freaking show up one day. And I was like, yo, you're that homie descendant, right? It's like, oh, yeah, man. Freaking, I'm going by Art Morera. You know, nowadays that's my name. I was like, oh, dope. Yeah, I remember you at G's when you were battling and stuff. And so that's when we kind of we started becoming more acquainted, like with each other and whatever.
Damn.
That's, yeah.
You know why I changed names from Descendant to Art Morera? Like Descendant was my high school freestyle battle days, and that's the name that I went under.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, when I got into DMG, I wanted to retire. DMG was the crew that I was in from like 2005 to 2000, I want to say 7, right? And I wanted to retire the battle chapter, you know, and I wanted to transition into being a recording artist. So I played around with a new name, which was E-Quote, EQWOTE, E-Quote, and people would call me E for short, which was weird. That was a very weird time. That was a weird time, you know.
It's a weird name too.
And it is. I know, right? It's a weird name, weird time, and I feel like I want to say that the reason why I thought of that name was because Jay-Z said, "Put a little EQ in it" in a lyric. And that just seems to have resonated with me real heavy, you know, like EQ in it. I don't know why, bro. Very weird connection of dots that one thing leads to another, you know. But for a while, I was rocking with them under this name EQ, you know, whatever. And after I left that group, I had to do some soul searching, you know. I left the group because we went to New York in 2007. There was some labels that wanted to sign us. I've told the story a few times. And whatever, long story short, we didn't get signed because of management negotiation, whatever. And I left the group because we already weren't getting along, you know?
Okay.
I mean, they're my brothers, but we had enough of each other for 2 years straight, you know? So then I was living with my pops at the time. And I had to do some soul searching, you know? And that's when it occurred to me that, you know, my mom had always called... I had told my dad that I was thinking of a new name that started with E, so that people can keep calling me E, but it stood for something different. And my dad, who doesn't really agree with hip-hop too much, my dad's one of those old school homies, you know, those old school guys that rap music doesn't qualify as real music to them, you know? Which is cool. I'm not gonna, you know, argue with him. He has his opinion on what qualifies as music, but I was telling him, like, yeah, you know, I'm thinking of a new name that starts with E, and he goes, why would you want to have a different name? Like, what's wrong with Arthur? You know, what's wrong with the name that I gave you? You know that I changed my name. I was Arturo, and then I came to America and I legally changed it to Arthur, and I gave it to you, and that's what you do with it? You just change it? And I was like,
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, okay, sorry. I was like, all right, sorry, damn, fine. So I went for a walk, and I'm thinking, like, okay, damn, you know, fuck, man, Arthur doesn't sound too rappy. And then it occurred to me at that moment that my mom, my whole life, my mom had always called me Art. You know, hey Art, throw out the garbage, whatever, Art. And I was like, whoa, okay, Art, you know, like Arthur, but also like artistry, you know, art. And I went under that I had, at my dad's house, my reintroduction to music was I had put together this little EP that never really officially went out.
Mm-hmm.
It existed in MySpace for like 2 weeks, and I took it down because really it didn't sound good. Like the recordings weren't my rap delivery at the time just wasn't developed yet. You know, I didn't have an engineer telling me to say something a little different. You know,
Or a producer.
a
that knows
producer,
what
yeah.
to do.
So saying, hey, why don't you add a little bit more swag to this little lyric here and there? I didn't have that, so I was very DIY putting together these little tracks.
Mm-hmm.
It was this EP called the Prosper EP, and I put it up on MySpace.
Mm-hmm.
It had 9 songs, and it was just under the name Art. But what happens when you Google Art? Like, I don't pop up, so I had to be a little bit more specific,
Mm-hmm.
and I added my last name, and since then that's just been me. You know.
Word. That's dope, man. It's dope that you can be able to use your own name, and your name is what you make of it, man. And it's dope that you've been able to take that and run with it. And it's like you're not basing your credibility or your skills or whatever, your persona, on some ethereal some myth, I don't know, man, some crazy mythological name or whatever that you're giving yourself or whatever that you're taking on. You're saying, yo, this is who I am, and then the skills that I have, this is who I am.
Well, like what are some names that you think we all in hip hop should agree to no longer name ourselves after? Like, there are some rappers. I must have met like 8 lyricals in my day. Like, if I swear to God, if I meet another rapper named Lyrical, I'm gonna lose it.
I've
You know,
met a bunch of like Logics.
for real.
Logic.
For real. There's Logic. There's After Logic. There's Ill Logic, and Lil Logic.
Lil Logic. You. But I've met a bunch of people that, yo, I'm Logic, and I'm like, damn, you know, like, all right, Logic.
And then they spell it differently. Instead of it being Logic, it'll be Lawjik. You know, like, bro, for real. That's another thing too. Like, aspiring rappers that they take on a name and they spell it differently. You know, they spell it the C's with the K's and the S's with the Z's and the A's with the V. Like, their name looks like a AOL screen name, you
Or
know?
you like use X's for like the vowels or whatever.
And you know what's funny, man? Like nowadays, I've heard of some other artists from other states and shit. Like, their names are much more dark web-ish, very screen name-ish, you know? Like, like name, like letters, words, and numbers, you know? Tekashi 6ix9ine, TJX6, you know? Whatever. And I feel like the first rapper to really do that must have been Tech-9, right? He changed the I to the number 9. Tech-9, you know?
I don't know, man. I mean, Tech-9, Mac 10, have they been making the same music, the same time period?
Tech-9, Mac 10.
7-Eleven.
How'd you get your name? What's the story behind Charlie Fast?
Yeah. It may be like the first time that I may be explaining this, but so I was into graffiti when I was younger, and this one homie, his name was Blur. You may have seen him up, and like since high school. This homie Blur, like I would see him take a pen, take a line for a walk on the paper, and then, bro, anything he puts the pen to the paper, anything that comes out of it is like magic, and I was fascinated, man. And then this homie would just, even to this day, I had shout outs to Blur 116, FC, IBM, Retro Kids. Yeah, that wasn't me. So
My fault.
It's all good. So this guy, like, and I don't know, man. He introduced me to the world of graph, and I was fascinated, man. And then, like, when you really an outsider, like, you really don't know too much of a difference. You know, maybe if you're an astute observer, you might know the differences and the quality between different people's graffiti tags or whatever. But like this guy, like, opened my mind to like a whole new level of like, holy shit, like, of like what graph could be and what you could do with letters, and you make them dance and you stretch them, and from like learning a simple style and then stretching it and pulling it into like a wild style. Bro, this guy just had like styles and styles for days, like 1,000 different ways to write his own tag, and they're all fresh to this day. So I was like, bro, this is something that I want to do, man. Like, just because I was into art, painting and stuff, drawing or whatever, I've always been kind of crafty, like art, like creative or whatever. And I didn't know what to write or whatever. And I would go on bombing missions, and then he would like put up like rock or something, like Charlie Rock or whatever. And then so whatever, I wasn't really a tag or whatever. And so shout outs to Nemo 273, 173rd. Excuse me if I get the number incorrectly. FC IBM Retro Kids. He used like the leader of this graph crew, and then we were all like sitting around and like just drawing or whatever. And then so we were just like drawing different words or whatever. And then one of us goes like, and then like, because we were going along like different, I don't know, adjective, I don't know if you want to call it adjectives, verbs, I don't know, but just different words or whatever, blur, speed, fast, or whatever. And then so like just like the word fast came up, and then he's like, bro, the word fast, those fucking words, letters are fresh to write, like that F to the A and then to the S to the T and whatever. And then I thought, freaking blur, fast. It kind of like went like together like peanut butter and jelly. I was like, sold. And then I was like, so now I gotta like, if I want to take this on, I gotta like really get dedicated to this and practice and fucking bomb or whatever. Do the things that a graffiti writer does. And also, it's like me pushing myself forward, because it's not it's not like I would be able to do like a real quick tag and then run out and, you know, whatever, and it be fresh. So it like was a name that I took more to like whip myself on the back, to like push me forward, to propel me. You know, it's not like I was a pretty good athlete or whatever, relatively fast runner, but I wasn't the fastest. You know, it has nothing to do with speed or whatever. The letters are fresh or whatever. So I carried it on. And then so I got into emceeing, and I'm like, oh man, like the writer name is that I've been pushing as fast. As a b-boy, you can't be known as freaking fast, and then you're like fucking slow as fuck on the dance floor. And then like as an MC, you can't be like you expect somebody like Twista or Saheed to like that they spit that real fast or whatever.
Well, also, you know, like fast could be like fasting, you know? Like,
Yeah. So like I was also very much into like Christianity at that time or whatever. So it kind of like played together. Like it all kind of like in my mind, these were all like facets or whatever that I liked about it. And then so I figured as an MC, like MCing always fascinated me. And then so I was like, so am I gonna push this? You know, my name is Charles, whatever, Charles Fast. It sounds kind of dope, whatever. You know, I'm not the fucking fastest rapper or whatever. I know that I'm tight. I have tight rhymes. I can hold my own in a cipher. I could I like to think that I could kill a verse on a track or whatever. And I just continue to run with it. And then freaking, it's kind of weird hearing other people say it. And freaking H2O blasting your name as your partner or whatever, as his partner. It's always been kind of weird, but it's always been like a struggle with me, where in my mind I'm like, yo, all these people are making fun of me because I'm like kind of calm and collect, and he takes his fucking name fast or whatever. So it like I kept on with it. It was like propelling me, like me whipping myself in the back, like, all right, bro, you gotta get better, you gotta be the freshest, you gotta like write on that next level, so that maybe you're not the fastest rapper or whatever, or even care to be that, but when they hear you, they're like, holy shit, this guy's fucking rhyme schemes are like ridiculous or whatever.
You could say that you're like the hungriest rapper because you've been fasting. You know.
Perhaps I don't know. I would say that I am not the hungriest rapper now. I'm actually trying to lose a little bit of weight. But
that'll be a good restaurant to open. Like, you just take their money, but you don't give them no food. And you're like, nah, you come here to fast, bro. You know?
Yes, the fasting restaurant. You go there
It's
and
like,
you sit there, and they give you like broth.
not to be confused with fast food.
Oh God,
You know?
that's another direction you could take it.
But that's a cool. Damn, that's what's up, man. So you got your name from who else got their name from starting with graffiti? Serum was first his tag, and then he just
I got introduced to him as Mr. Serum, and then years later he's like, yo, it's just Serum. Yo, aren't you Mr. Serum? It's just Serum.
excuse me, Mr. Serum, are you joining the battle today? I don't know. I might. Get out of my way.
Get out of my way. This is my job.
Shout out to Serum, bro. You know, damn, bro. You know, like ever since I dropped Buena Gente, bro, like it feels really good to have that record with Serum, bro. Paint, you know.
Yeah. That was a fight. That track is one of my favorites.
I feel like that's probably my favorite Serum verse. I might be biased because it's a track with me, but
Yeah, man. Serum is he's a beast, man. He's a force of nature, man. Like, I don't know how he has this crazy breath control. He writes these freaking verses as like, I mean, I don't even know if that's the flow of his. It's kind of like it.
nah, but he has
He has a signature.
His own. He's instantly recognizable when he jumps on a record, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know, and on that note too, man. You know, like rest in peace to Solomon Spectrum.
Solomon Spectrum, man.
You know, like that's a good reminder, man, to just everybody out there to just check up on your homie, bro. You know, you never know, man. Like, bro, people can go from a good place to a dark place, bro, in a matter of seconds, man. You never know, man.
Bro.
You know, like we're a volatile. Our mental state could be volatile, bro. You know, I don't know what I don't know. You know, the story or whatever, but regardless of that, just rest in peace to Solomon Spectrum, bro.
Man.
I know that H2O and Serum was really close with him. You know, you're pouring some out for him right now.
Yeah, man. Just a little bit out for the homie Solomon Spectrum, man. God bless you, man.
Yeah, he was always cool, man. The few times
Yeah,
the few times that I've interacted with him, you know, he was cool, man. Just you know, kept it cordial. He would get on his mic and spit, and then tuck away to like play the wall real quick, and
Yeah.
you know, just kick it with Serum and just kind of enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah. Serum, bro. Solomon, man. I mean, I didn't have too much interactions with him. A couple, and you know, very cool dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we hung out in the same circles. I know he was like Serum's brother, man, and H2O and the Illiterates. All those guys were like, you know, brothers, and Solomon was with them since like back in those days, man. And man, I don't know, man. It's just like he's a good dude, and he's no longer with us. And it's super whack, man. And a lot of people are hurt and sad and broken up by it.
On that, also, you know, like how do like what do you think is a healthy way for people to handle grief? You know, like someone passes away. You know who really hit me hard when they passed away, man? My aunt. I had an aunt that was fighting cancer and she had passed away from it. And her husband that she had only been married to for maybe like a couple years prior to her passing away was by her side the whole time. But while she was fighting cancer, he I guess under the stress of dealing with her fighting cancer, got a heart attack and he passed away. And then not even a couple months later is when she passed away.
Yeah.
You know? And bro, till this day, bro, like, man, I think about that a lot, man. Like that her passing really altered my world, you know, my whole family. But you know, it's crazy, bro. Like one moment you're here, the next moment you're not, and then the rest of our lives we spend trying to hold on to the memories that we have of these people, you know. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough, man, for real.
Yeah.
I want to feel like sometimes, man, when I'm by myself, I'll holler at people because I'll be like sad, you know, reflecting on just everything, but I'll call somebody and I want to know how they're doing, because I want to kind of push to the side what's going on with me just so I could go into someone else's world for a little while, you know. And I wonder, you know, how do you handle like grief?
For one thing, I pray that I don't have to grieve. I don't know, man. Like my thankfully, I have not had a lot of death. I mean, my dad passed away back in 2016. But you know, that's after like growing up and stuff. It's not like I was a little boy, and it was very it was very difficult, and the whole situation. And afterwards, it was kind of messy. And, like the situation was messy. I don't know, man. I think me subconsciously, subconsciously, grief. I distract myself. If I'm really under the under like freaking heavy grief or whatever, I find I don't know, man. I don't know if it's the healthiest thing to do. I find something to do that occupies my mind, and I don't and try to think less of it, or at least in the time of that freaking suffering, anguish or whatever, you get a little bit of relief from that. But ultimately, you know, not forgetting completely. But I don't know, man. You know, like I we all grow and adapt based on our experiences. I don't know if I completely deal with everything in the healthiest way possible.
I could level with you on there, because I also don't feel like I handle things very healthily. I feel like the way that I handle things is actually the opposite. I probably handle things for like short-term relief, but it doesn't really resolve the internal effects that it has on like my perspective on things, you know. A friend of mine called me cynical the other day. Like, and like it's hard to argue it, you know. But you know what I think it is? I think it's that the last like 2 going on 3 years. The last like 3 years or so have been just a very like a series of bad events that, in order for me to endure the one after the other in such a short period of time, I had to create like a callus, you know, a callus in my um as far as how I handle it. Like my skin got too thick, and then my heart turned cold a little bit. You know.
Yeah, man. I think I don't know, man. That's our mental facilities learning how to cope with very difficult situations and getting calloused. It's a I don't know, man. It's a response. It's a defense. If you callus your finger, it's very difficult to prick it with a needle. If your finger, like playing the guitar, your fingers get calloused and you don't have any feelings in there, and that's kind of what you want with playing guitar or whatever, so you could play beautifully. I don't know how that.
There's little poetry in that.
There is a little bit of poetry. I don't know if it coincides well with being callous towards our loved ones being gone. But I don't know, man. I guess to some degree we have to move on, and I don't know that may qualify as being callous to some degree.
I hope to one day, like for example, it's been a while since I played guitar a lot, and now my fingers don't have that much callus on it anymore. And I would imagine that our minds go through the same process, you know. Like when I got out of, for the 4 months that I was locked up, they give you the shoes that you wear, and then you can buy boots. No, excuse me, you can buy shoes, but they give you boots. It's these very cheap leather boots, and those boots tore my feet apart, bro. There was so much callus all over both my feet by the time that I got out of prison, and I thought that I was doomed, bro. I thought like my feet. Have you ever seen the picture of Shaquille O'Neal's feet? Don't look it up if you haven't seen it. Just take my word for it. It's very bad.
Okay.
And my feet were like tore up, bro, with callus from the shitty boots that I wore. And now they're not anymore, So I feel like when you let time pass and your body and your mind kind of recalibrate itself, they rejuvenate themselves to their pristine condition, at least to the best that they could, And I want to believe that the mind does that as well, So
The mind does what?
recalibrates itself. Like you deal with a series of traumatizing, rough events, and then you spend a long time in the afterglow of it, where you kind of find yourself being cold and cynical and just stoic, damn near sociopathic, because you have exhausted all the empathy that you had. You just kind of have no more left over for a while, and then time goes by, and little by little, bro, that well fills back up.
Word.
Like the heart warms back up. Especially if you have God in your life. If you have God in your life, that process is a lot faster. You give nature half a chance, bro. A little blade of grass will pop out from a crack in the sidewalk, and before you know it, it's the whole thing growing. Like I feel like if you have God in your life, you can totally come back from the dark side, And
yeah.
Word,
man.
well, look, man, I was hoping to play a track, but I don't, we've been talking for a while, and it's all good. We can always just do another podcast another time, God willing. But is there anything that you want to tell the people that you're working on right now that for them to check out?
Well, man, I mean, this newest thing that I'm excited about is WVCC radio, and the things that are spawning from that, and the possibilities that are coming out of that, and the people that want to work that want to put in work from different angles, and I mean, I think ultimately it's building an audience, but I think with the right team together, and people working their strengths, I don't know, man. I think that there's a good opportunity to be that giver of water, man, of that new stuff that comes out, and even the old stuff that's dope, the classics, and even the surrounding things, the peripherals, man. Whether it's clothing, whether it's writing reviews for new music, whether it's the MC battle aspect of it, like Art of War getting involved, and bringing these different audiences together. But I feel like what holds the everybody together, what the strings that are pulling everybody together, is like the love of hip hop, and passing that to the new generation, and filling a void of music that, I mean, there's a void, man. There's a void of this style of, I don't know, you want to say style of music, or because a lot of the stuff that we've been pushing, a lot of stuff that H has been pushing is newer stuff, whether it's from an old rapper, whether it's from new guys, but it's all dope. And then he's like, yo, are we is it fire, or do we retire it? And then so whoever's on there says, yo, this is fire. Okay, he plays it again at some other point. He knows that's what the people want. Or retire it, and he never plays it again, man. I mean, I'm kind of excited about that. Ideally, my involvement, for one thing, to give my perspective, and also to help guide the winds of the force of nature that I know that it can become. H calls me, what the hell does he call me? His freaking his sober-minded. He calls me something like you're my sober mind, or something like that. Like he gets all excited about some kind of thing, and then I like help show him, like, yo, hold on, but you gotta take into account this and this and this. You don't want to get in trouble for this, and then there's this thing that you can look up ahead for. I feel like I've always had kind of that gift of seeing things, obstacles before they arise, and ideally taking care of them before you encounter them, or at least be prepared for when they do. And okay, I know that this threat exists, or this obstacle, and okay, let's just be prepared for that, or let's be smart enough to go around it. I don't know, man. I mean, we're forming a team of people. I think everybody has some very good insight, and some very good all the people that I see that are coming together are talented people. They're excited about what's going on. They have their own connections. They're I don't know, man. Freaking the Vice City Cypher was like, we were doing our thing, man. Freaking back in the days, freaking throwing shows and putting on local talent and stuff. That it was very tiring, and it took a toll. And I think ideally, if we can do something that promotes what we love about hip hop, and not do too much crazy exhaustive legwork, or at least be able to delegate it properly, where everybody's kind of balanced and not overburdened or whatever. I think that's what I like as a crew. That's what I would really like to maintain. Like, let's not get overburdened and overpromise. I would rather under promise and over deliver. I've always like lived by those words, even like in my job, and whether I'm doing some coding stuff or creative stuff. Like they we need to do this thing, and then like I'll like under promise, because I don't wanna say, yeah, I can do it, and like we can do this and we can do that and do that, and then like at the end of the day, or at the end, however much work that you put into it, if it's not up to those expectations, then in my mind it's like you failed. So it's like you're already setting the bar mad high, and then if you don't freaking hit that bar, then you're a failure in the, you know, like in my twisted mind to a degree. So
No, but the mind isn't twisted for doing that, because you want to set yourself up for like high goals and give something to work to, like, and falling short of that doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that you like it, that you did as much as you could, which is still progress, you know.
I will say that I have incredibly high standards for myself, more than more than I have for other people. So if my name is on the line, then and if I say I'm going to deliver something, 9 times out of 9, I'm doing my damnedest to deliver that. So if I don't want to tell you, yo, yeah, I'm gonna do this for you, and then I'm gonna drive you over here, and then I'm gonna give you $500, and then I can't deliver on any of that. That I'm setting myself up for failure for that. But if I say, if I tell you, yo, I'm gonna do this for you, and it's kind of it's cool. That's just what you need. But then I come through and I freaking bring food, and I bring a gift or whatever, and then freaking we have a great time, and then I don't know. It's like I try to over, like, under promise, over deliver, and that way, even if you over deliver a bit, the person says, yo, he delivered, and he also freaking went out above and beyond, and like it leaves a good impression dealing with people, in my experience.
It's true. I'm the same way, man. Like I like to over deliver as well, especially with the stuff that I put out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to, if I'm ever gonna be extra about anything, it's gonna be like how much more you get out of the original thing that I said I was gonna give you. You know, like, you know what's funny, man? Like Transit City, right? The project that I put out. I put my camera on a monopod, and I stood outside of this hotel, and I broke down the entire project, the making of it, I did a whole documentary of that project, included with I would ride my bike to the beach with my camera, and just stock up on footage and just mad clips to kind of document the whole experience. And I never told anyone that, oh, the documentary's coming out. I just put it out and be like, oh, by the way, there's this too.
Word.
You know?
Word.
And it feels good. It feels good to do more, you know? Instead of to like fall back because you did less than what you promised. And sometimes that happens to me too, man. Like I'll say that I'm gonna do something, then I get caught up, and I feel like a letdown, you know? I feel like I let people down, because for the few 1, 2, 3 people that care enough to even keep an eye out, the couple times that I fell short on it, man, it really beats me up, man. You know?
It's one of the reasons why I try to make like few announcements about what I'm doing or potentially doing, or because like once I say it and I start talking to people about it, then I better deliver on it, because I'm not going to be one of these people that talks about a house full of baloney and then never deliver on it or come close to it, or maybe it's a thing about being perceived as somebody that just talks and doesn't do. So in turn, there's certain things that I try not to bring up or talk about or whatever, unless I'm really serious about it or whatever. So I'm always kind of careful in what I say and what I tell people or whatever, because then I'm under pressure to deliver. And
Word.
it could be a good thing, but then if I don't deliver, to me, I look like an ass. I'm like,
But you know, at the same time, you could over deliver, and some people, for whatever reason, will still look at you like an ass. Like, not just you, like just me, everyone. Like, doesn't matter how much effort you put into what you put out. There's still gonna be a group of people somewhere that's gonna be like, man, fuck that nigga, man. You know, man, fuck that dude, man. Like, I don't like anything that he does anyway. And it's like, it almost puts into perspective, like, who is it that we really do this for? Because I think the answer should be for self-fulfillment first.
sure.
You know, like if you do things just to pander and cater to an audience or to someone else, you're almost setting yourself up for an inevitable failure on some side of the spectrum. Whereas if you do something and for yourself first, then it almost doesn't even matter what they say because you're happy with what you did. You know?
Sure. I think also if I do say something about what's something that I'm doing or going to do or is I'm in the process of doing, it also puts a pressure on me and it helps me kind of like deliver to a certain degree. Because I have this thing with commitment that I don't like commitment. But if I'm committed to something, I'm committed to it. And committed to an idea, committed to something that I promised, it's very difficult for me to break a promise, to say something and then like I'll never say something just to like boast about it. Really, maybe I don't know, man. Maybe you can ask my friends whether or not if I have done that or not. But I guess the point that I'm making is I try to underpromise and overdeliver, and if I do talk about something, it is more like deliberate. For one thing, to speak it out into the universe, to make it come to fruition, and it also puts pressure on me to like do what I have to do ideally in order to make happen what I am just verbally manifesting.
Yeah, because once you put it out to the world, you're almost like you're writing it on the board for the world to see, and it puts pressure on you to follow through with it. You know, it's like when Pat Riley, the first time that the Miami Heat won the championships, he told on the press conference, he's like, I don't got time for 2 games out here. I just brought 1 suit and 1 tie. You know, implying like if they win the first game, they win the whole series. But if they lose that game, they still have a chance to win the next game. You know, and then they'll win there. But he's like, nah, we're winning this tonight. And they did, you know? So it's like sometimes you declare an outcome and it almost like commits you to go through with it. You feel me? Word, man.
Word.
Well, yeah, man. I think that we're out of here, man. That was tight. I appreciate you coming through, Charlie.
Word, man, bro. I'm happy to be here, man. I'm happy to talk history and to make history. Bro, it is late, so I feel like I'm not at my sharpest in eloquently delivering answers or whatever. Ideally, the crowd out there is satisfied with my performance.
Well, that's what that's what the Noche podcast is kind of about, man. Like, we're here late night.
Yeah, man.
And you're listening to the subconscious ramblings of
of
my homies. No, I'm just.
It's a setup.
I'm just playing, man.
It's like let's put them at a disadvantage, and then let's see what kind of crazy stuff we can get them to talk about.
No. But for real, like, but I hope that y'all enjoyed it out here, man. Out there, excuse me. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out Charles Fast, H2O, and the VCC crew and what they have going on with VCC with
WVCC Radio.
WVCC Radio. All the homies out there, you know, go on Spotify, go on SoundCloud, whatever. Look up Art Morera and check out the music, man. Check out Buena Gente, Good Grief, Transit City. The whole catalog is just there waiting for you, man. You know,
Word.
That being said, I think we out of here, guys. All right.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to think of if I should. I mean, I threw out I put out a project in 2016. If you look up Charles Fast, Sorry I'm Late, you may find it.
Sorry, I'm late.
Sorry I'm late, and at some point I may take it down just on principle. And so listen to it while you can. You can even download it for free. SoundCloud, Bandcamp.
You should if you ever do take it down, you should change it to Sorry, I'm unavailable.
Sorry, I'm unavailable. That'll be the follow up. Man, I'm so freaking busy. Not only am I late, I was late, but now I'm just like unavailable. Sorry, but here, listen to this. But I'm unavailable. So yeah, man, WVCC, man, look up the Vice City Cypher. Follow anything that that the Vice City Cypher does. Check out my homie H2O, my brother, my freaking partner in rhyme. Yeah, man, I don't know. I will conclude this ramble. So this ramble is concluded.
My dog, man. All right, y'all, we out of here, guys.
Peace.
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 Medianoche.
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 Podcast.
Medianoche.
Podcast.
Medianoche.
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 Podcast.